more awareness around mental health challenges during this pandemic.
Let's take a global stand against COVID.
Teen Talks every Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific times, only on TVASIA Telugu.
Hey everybody, this is 𝗧𝗘𝗙𝗡 welcoming you back to Teen Talk. We are in the middle of our Global Stand Against COVID event series, and today we are ready to begin our second event of this series. GSA COVID is a student-driven initiative attempting to help students across our global community cope with some of the pressing challenges posed by COVID-19. Keeping a strong mental health. As we all know, these times involving the sudden outbreak of COVID-19 has put a lot of students under immense pressure. Students from across the world are now facing new challenges related to the virus outbreak, such as academic adaptations, social constructs, and more. I think it's safe to say that the mental health of these students has been compromised in more ways than one. A few of us Leos from the New Jersey Renaissance Leo Club, affiliated with the New Jersey Renaissance Lions Club, have put together this initiative with a goal of creating a forum to discuss these top student concerns that affect their mental health. Based on polling 100+ students across various age groups, such as middle schoolers, high schoolers, and undergraduates, we have aggregated these top concerns in the minds of students today. Last week, we focused on health and wellness related concerns and had prominent speakers and panelists share their profound insights and recommendations as to how students can maintain a healthy mindset about this pandemic, start a conversation about mental health with their parents, cope with job loss or death in the family, to reach out to other students and help with social anxiety, and much more. We've had hundreds of views on our previous show and have heard back from school students as to how these recommendations have helped them. Today, we will be focusing on stress and exhaustion related concerns, and we have a diverse mix of panelists ranging from international cross-cultural mentors to medical professionals to life coaches to small business owners and professors here today. We thank them for spending their extremely valuable time with us, and we acknowledge that these insights that they will provide will go a long way in helping students across the globe. We have some new panelists joining us today, in addition to some returning panelists from last week, who have all made time for us in the midst of their very hectic schedules to offer their insights as to how students can cope with this pandemic. We do want to highlight again that the recommendations offered through this show are of informational nature and should not be used in place of proper medical conduct. Again, I take pride in introducing our panelists for today. Today's new panelists are Dr. 𝗟𝗓𝗡 is an author, a healthcare entrepreneur, a speaker, and a woman leader in the healthcare domain. She heads an enterprise focused on developing the next generation of medical professionals from underprivileged and other communities through skilling, global learning, and leadership development. She hoists the flag of inspiration for young aspirants from all aspects of society. Those who need an accessible, affordable, dependable, professional guide to equip them for their careers of excellence in healthcare and thereby transforming their lives as well as those of their families. 𝗓𝗡𝗡 Surendra Joshi is an actor, writer, and director from Mumbai Theatre. He has acted in over 40 plays and has been associated with over 70 plays in his career. He is on Netflix and Eros now. Currently, he is writing 2 movies and a second season for his TV show featuring his wife and 2 of his 5 children. Preeti Raghuram has held multiple leadership positions in the IT industry in her career of over 13 years. Her special interests are in client experience and in Fin Lids. She is particularly energized and motivated while guiding and mentoring young professionals. 𝗧𝗘𝗡 is a Kumon instructor. She has been with Kumon for over 10 years and she is passionate about helping children progress and achieve their academic goals. Now let's move on to our returning panelists. Dr. Raghuram is a leading cardiothoracic surgeon practicing in Tamil Nadu, India. He has performed over 10,000 open heart surgeries in the last 25 plus years. He is also a fellow of Royal College of Surgeons, Edinburgh. Amongst his several laurels, he is a Lifetime Achiever Awardee from Tamil Nadu MGR Medical University and an international member of the Society of Thoracic Surgeons of America. Anne Basil is the Director of Behavioral Health Sciences at AmeriGroup. Her team works directly with the families covered by AmeriGroup in New Jersey, as well as the hospitals and treatment providers seeing their members. She is also a mother of 2 girls, both in 5th and 7th grades, and lives in New Jersey. Sriram Natarajan is an associate professor at the Director Center for Machine Learning in the Department of Computer Science at the University of Texas. He is also the director at Starling Lab at UT Dallas. He has published several research papers in the fields of artificial intelligence and machine learning and teaches doctorate students. Niranjan Ramakrishnan is a certified healthcare CIO, an entrepreneurial and driven chief technologist with over 20 years of experience in the healthcare industry in leading numerous companies in domestic and international marketplaces. He is recognized as one of the top 10 CIOs in the Indian healthcare industry by the eHealth magazine. Dr. Deepthi Raghuram is a gynecologist and obstetrician with a special interest in fetal medicine. Priya Karthik is an engineer with an MBA. She is a certified professional coach, certified life coach, mentor, and public speaker. Empowering students to succeed and transforming them into leaders is her mission. 𝗧𝗘𝗘𝗡 is a Tony Robbins certified coach and an executive functioning coach with over 20 years of experience in the corporate world. Surbhi Soni has a master's in clinical psychology who has been doing counseling work for over 15 years, after which she went back to school and completed her training in applied behavior analysis. She currently works with individuals with autism as an applied behavior therapist. Great! I am very excited by the depth of experience and variety in perspectives that we can take advantage of here in this forum today. Let's begin with our first question, one of our prominent high school questions related to stress.
What are some simple practices that students can adopt on a daily basis that will help their overall state of stress?
Have a routine or create new ones. Follow your daily chores. Exercise regularly. Move a bit every day. Have a sleep schedule. Ensure at least 8 hours of sleep in a day. That will help you to be sound mentally and physically. Have a balanced diet. Follow your passion. Do the things that you were not able to do previously because of your busy schedule. Keep in touch with your loved ones, either in person or through virtual platforms. I think these are the simple tricks and steps that everyone has to follow to have a balanced state of mind.
Having a healthy lifestyle is especially important during high-stress times. This includes having a daily routine, eating healthy, exercising, and getting a good night's sleep. I know we all love our screen time, but limiting how much you're on your cell phone, iPad, laptop, video games, and TV helps also. Avoid alcohol and drugs. Learn mindfulness techniques and relaxation breathing. These are just some of the ideas on how to cope with the stress of COVID-19. Since my family went into quarantine, I've been taking a short walk with my kids twice a day. Sometimes they complain about going, but it helps us get some fresh air, exercise, take regular breaks throughout the day, and it's some extra family time. It's important to stay connected to family and friends as much as possible. Even though I told you to put away your screens, having a virtual gathering with your friends is a good idea. Friends and family are important, but especially now. For as much time as you spend socializing virtually or through social distancing if possible, make sure you're also taking time for yourself. Do something you enjoy. whether it be artwork, writing, listening to music, reading. Those are just a few examples. If your feelings don't get better, talk to a parent or grown-up that you trust. It may also help to talk to a mental health professional.
What I want to share with you is everyone's future is uncertain. Whether you're going to get up tomorrow alive or not, itself is uncertain. While it might seem philosophical, but that's the fact of life. All of us come into this world with an expiry date. We just don't know whether it's tomorrow or day after. Once you know that, how about you just live in the present and look at creating opportunities for yourself and for making this world a better place to live in. Just this one thought of getting people strong enough to handle the global pandemic created by one teenager has brought the world together. That's how you can create positive changes in your areas. I call myself on a million smiles journey. Creating one smile actually lightens up your mood and helps spread positivity. While it might seem like a very simple thing, but at this point people are looking for hope and looking for positive people to hang out with. So can you be the change is the question.
Get up in the morning and say, hey, I want to accomplish these 3 things for the day. 2 could be for your larger life project, the purpose that you came in, the purpose that you defined for yourself. And 1 could be just for family members, it could be for your friends, it could be for some unknown, needy people or anything. So define what you want to do for the day, for the life. And every day is part of your project, it's a larger project. So it means a lot. But ensure that you do not always work for companies, not work for people, not work for projects, not work for others. When you do something for yourself, be it simple pampering of yourself, just looking at yourself in the mirror for a few minutes and appreciate yourself and pick up just 1 or 2 unknown people in your life and then understand their problem and try to solve some of their problems. Not necessarily got to spend money always. It could be simply a few minutes of your time. Or it could be helping achieving someone else's life's projects and accomplish their goals. Or it could be simple talking to some elders who need some ears to kind of listen, or just they want some kind of kind words. You can really pick and choose anything outside of your life project and companies way of doing things and schools assignments, and it could be anything, but just keep a few minutes of your time in a life and every day for something which you never thought of doing. That will really bring a lot of relaxation as well as easy of understanding things around you, etc. So that will be a huge stress buster for you.
Simple practices that you can use on a daily basis to reduce your overall stress would first and foremost be to organize yourself. Make a schedule for yourself of what are the things you need to get done. Use a planner, use an Excel spreadsheet, and after you do that, you can always pick a space where you feel you'll be productive. I always recommend don't just sit in bed and do your homework and watch Netflix and all the things you want to do. Try to, if you're trying to do schoolwork, maybe sit at a desk, pick a well-lit area. If you can sit outside, especially now that the weather's nice, you may feel more motivated to get your work done. And balance your life. Set aside time to do the things you enjoy, whether it is spending time outdoors or reading a book or just doing another type of activity that you enjoy, so you don't feel that you're always online doing schoolwork. And I would say try to switch up activities that you can do. Spend your weekends doing things with family and carve out your weekdays just for all the work that you need to get done, and do not wait until last minute to get everything done.
To overall control your stress, it is extremely important that first of all, you have a very disciplined life. When I say disciplined life, it means in spite of the pandemic, you try to schedule your life in such a way that you wake up at a particular time, you sleep early. I know you get carried away with gaming, you get carried away with TV watching, binge watching, But instead of doing that, you will have to learn to control yourself. Do not control yourself so much that then finally you will give in to your wish or your desire to play or to watch TV so much that you will be disciplined for a couple of days and then you are completely out of control. So what you want to do is you want to make a timetable, schedule yourself that all right, I am going to allow myself 1-2 hours a day of TV time, or 1.5 hour of gaming time, or any other particular activity that you're doing. Remember, TV or gaming is not creative. It will be creative in TV if you're going on Discovery Channel and watching something. Try and put in a couple of hours of reading. Pick good books. You can also pick some really good novels which are out there, or most of the libraries have opened up again, so you should be going to the library, and there's curbside pickup most of the places, and I'm sure you already have a good collection, and put some time into reading. What you eat is also very important. So while especially see the binge watching TV and eating go hand in hand. So when you are watching your favorite show and you love to eat with it, you will not realize how much you are eating. So this pandemic will also be challenging because you may gain weight. Also, I would stress very much on some outdoor activities, sports, gyms. I live in Columbus, Ohio, so the gyms are open here. I don't know about other parts of the country, but even if the gyms are not open, you can go out. We are lucky enough that we are allowed to go out, play some basketball, play some handball, volleyball, anything, go out for a jog, go out for your for biking, or any of your favorite sports. And stress will build up only as much as you allow it. Most of the solutions I gave you here right now are the kind which is through discipline in daily life, but the discipline in daily life which I mentioned in short right now are the ones which are around your time agenda. But more than that, the true discipline is up here in your mind. So it is the mind which controls everything. So see to it that you feed your brain the right knowledge, the right reading, the right thoughts. Constantly keep a check on your thoughts.
Stress is a part of all of our lives, and it always will be to some point. A few of the ways that I can suggest to deal with stress is exercise or yoga. I'm sure you must have heard everyone tell you that, and to some extent you know that too. But trust me, any amount of exercise does help. So if you haven't been already doing it, start doing it now. Spend some time with your friends and your family. I know you already are doing all that, but that is the best way to deal with your stress, Talk to your family and your friends about the stresses. Talk to them about what you're not liking around your surroundings, or what is it that you want to change about yourself, about your daily routine. Sleep, very, very important. I suggest that you should at least get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and make sure when you do get that sleep, you make a routine, which means that try to go to bed every day at the same time. That helps. And try not using your phone right before you're about to sleep. I know that all of us have gadgets and we like to play with them, especially TikTok these days. We like to sit on the TikTok for hours and hours till we have that time where we're like, okay, no more, we need to sleep. No. Try not using your cell phones at least an hour before your bedtime. That's my personal suggestion. Pick up an activity. I think I did tell you that before, DIY. While sitting home, there's nothing much to do, so there's a lot of boredom. There's not physical exercise happening, so try picking up an activity. Could be drawing, could be painting, could be martial arts, YouTube videos if you cannot go out and join any martial arts studios. You don't have to spend money, just log in to your drives and Google some YouTube videos, and you are going to be able to do some Pilates, watching at those YouTube videos. Help your parents around the house. Trust me, I am sure if you're going to ask them that you need to help them and you need some work, they will have plenty of work for you to give it to you. So try these things and I'm sure you will be able to curb the stress.
The first thing I always tell you as students is don't live a random life. So don't wake up at random times, don't do random things at random times. Have a set schedule as much as possible. I know it's very difficult, life is not like a timetable, but if you have a schedule and you try and stick to it, then your energy is well spent. So you spend a couple of hours in the morning, running around, taking a jog, biking, whatever, right? You're allowed to do that. And have a set time for studying, set time for your Zoom calls, and have a certain period of time for spending time with friends over phone or whatever, and have a certain amount of time that you can spend with family. For people who can still spend time with family, I think that's another privilege that most people don't have. So try and appreciate this. Try and stick to a schedule as much as you can. If you stick to a schedule, generally things turn out fine. Only when you do things completely randomly, then you're lost in thoughts and you have no idea what to do next or what to do this. So if let's say you're a senior or a rising senior and you're trying to look at schools that you have to apply to, maybe spend a couple of hours every day. Set some time between, and it doesn't have to be the same time every day. So set a couple of hours. In those 2 hours alone, think about the school. Then you move your thought to something else. So the moment you organize your life a little bit, I think things will be much better than just living in a random fashion. So that would be my advice to the students.
Okay, so kids need to have personal academic goals, right? Personal goals. Nobody, you've lost out on the structural learning that's from school or accountability. That needs to be replaced by your own self-awareness and self-initiation in this situation.
Wonderful discussion. I think it is interesting to note that almost all panelists did highlight some common things we can do to relieve our stress. Maintain a daily schedule, get some physical exercise, and stay organized. This reinforces the importance of small and simple things that can make a huge difference in maintaining stress. Over to our next high schooler question.
How can we deal with the additional stress put upon students by the political aspect of this pandemic?
The question about politics is extremely important. Look, political situation is hard, particularly in this time across the world. Political situation is not very good. The world is divided in a very weird way. But again, this is a phase. Okay, if you look at history, the world has always been divided. We have always had these problems, but we have come past that at some point. And I believe that this is going to happen now. Things have always settled. So if you really want to cope, right? If you want to make a difference, my suggestion is if you are eligible, go vote. Do not miss voting. Make sure you motivate everyone in your family and your friends to vote. Okay? Let your vote count. Make it your first priority, right? So make sure you discuss even politics. Look, keep your political discussions at a reasonable level, right? Understand where the others come from. The problem with I think nowadays is that people don't listen. They talk more than they listen. So in that case, the political philosophies don't come across. If I look at my, for instance, Facebook profile, I see a whole spectrum of political opinions.
and I try to understand, okay, does this even make sense? Many of this will not fit with my principles or philosophies, but I still want to understand what they are saying, right? So sit down and have a conversation. Do not get worked up, okay? Relax, okay? First is understand that there are things that you can make changes, and that is by voting. So make sure that you vote if you are eligible, and make sure you make others vote. But I would say the best way to deal with stress in general is to follow a routine. That's what I do. I try to live a life with a routine, and that makes my life easier.
Okay, there is no easy situation to this. There is nothing that you can change by having a stance in the political situation. I feel like listening to the news outlet, media, everything affects your well-being. There is acceptance is what is needed, or letting go of the negatives. So I would say apply the same in the political situation. There's nothing you can do to change. So why get stressed out on it? Limit all the exposure to all the negative news and everything. Whatever happens will all settle down.
Valid and thoughtful responses. Yes, we do have to learn to accept and voice ourselves in non-abrasive ways. Our next question is a high schooler concern focused on helping others.
Let's say I'm completely fine and not stressed about our current situation, but I know someone who is. How can I extend my help to them, and what can I do to make someone else feel better during these times?
Well, helping others is one of the best ways to keep your own mental balance also in the proper manner. So helping others, if you are able to offer support, either in terms of social support or financial support, the community will enjoy it. You may not be able to go out into the community and help them, but there are various online methods of helping them out. And especially if somebody gets stressed, talking to them for a long time, understanding their problem, identify yourself with their problem, talk to them for a long time, and give them some solution, whatever help solution you want to give them. If you can give them, they'll feel a lot. Keep company for those who are lonely, especially elderly people and handicapped. The handicapped people will feel terribly curtailed because in this situation. Supposing they need some shopping, if you are able to physically do it, if the rules of the land allow it, then probably you can do shopping for them. So ultimately what happens is, if you are able to be a source of help to others, you also feel a lot better, and it also gives a lot of comfort to the people who are in need of it.
Everyone feels stress. Some stress is normal and part of life. COVID-19 has taken our normal routines and turned them upside down. Between quarantine, social distancing, virtual school, sports and event cancellations, and missed milestones, stress levels have gone up. Some people, middle and high schoolers included, could start to isolate even more, feel depressed or anxious, start to have more trouble at school, have trouble sleeping, argue more with their friends and family, be moodier, or even get headaches and stomach aches. It's hard not to see your friends at school, at practice, or on weekends. But you can still support a friend who you see struggling. Stay connected through the phone, text, video, social media. If you see any signs of depression, anxiety, or anything else that worries you about them, talk to them. Let them know you're there for them. Acknowledge and validate their feelings. And always let a parent or grown-up you trust know if you are worried they could be in danger or do something to hurt themselves or others.
It's always good to pick up cues. Go with your gut feeling. If you feel like someone is a little off and has not been doing well, or suddenly they stopped texting or such behavior, I would just urge you to please reach out to them. They might not answer on the first time, but please don't stop trying. Constantly reach out to them and give them a sense of feeling that they have somebody that they can rely on. Make them feel comfortable and let them know that whatever they share with you, you're going to keep it confidential. Some kids don't want to reveal it to their parents or to their siblings or to the other friends, but please don't stop checking out just because you're rejected for the first time. Keep trying.
It's a good thing that you are not stressed. But just because you are not stressed will not necessarily qualify you to tackle somebody or or motivate somebody or help somebody into getting out of stress. One of the good things about this is that you can be a great listener. Being a good listener, giving a good ear to a friend of yours is very, very important, and that is half the battle won. So yes, please be a good listener. But what happens is that you may not be stressful, but see, there's a very thin line between you trying to help somebody out and then getting involved in it. If you ever decide to help somebody out, first of all, I would say you need to research on it really well, know about the subject really well if you're going to start giving suggestions or advice to somebody. And when you do that, please try to keep yourself detached, because it should not happen that you also get carried away with stress. Stress, joy, happiness, whether it is a positive emotion or a negative emotion, anxiety, all these emotions are all contagious. That's why you will see that when you are in contact with somebody who is joyful, you will feel the joy. But at the same time, when a joyful person comes in contact with somebody who is anxious or fearful or stressed, it is only a matter of time before the energy which is higher or which is denser or more concentrated will eventually drain the other one out. So if you come in contact with somebody who is really burnt out and stressed out, first of all, they will have an aura around them which is so strong that it will affect you immediately. Once that aura affects you immediately, your initial situation where you say that you're not burnt out or stressed out at all is immediately affected. Once that is affected, you are also prone to tension and stress. So please see to it that you are detached. When you lend a helping hand to a colleague or a brother or a sister or a friend or whoever, okay, it is very important. And yes, I understand that when you see someone who's a very good friend or a cousin or a brother or a sister who really needs help, you do want to help them. One of the best ways I would suggest, and which I have used a number of times, if genuinely you want to help them, there's two things. There's a long answer to this. I'm trying to make it as concise and trying to, think and give you only the most important parts. So two things that come to my mind immediately is, why do you want to help the person? A person may want to help another person, one, because it makes his ego boost. Not good. You don't want to do that. You don't want to help somebody because it makes you feel better or because your ego is inflated. Second, there will be more scenarios, but I'm just sticking to two. The second scenario is a genuine one where you are concerned about that person and you want to help them. Good. Do it. Now, how to do it? Are you qualified? You're not qualified? Do you know enough about the subject? Does the person open up to you? Do you know everything about the person? Does the person want your help? Just because you came to know he or she is stressed, is he or she really ready to take your help? Or there's a lot of things involved here. So I would suggest, if you are a real, true, positive well-wisher for that person, pray for them. Prayers have tremendous healing powers, especially prayers which are selfless, especially when you pray without expecting anything from that person, not even a thanks. Pray for them, and when the person is out of it, your prayers are heard, right? So if later on the person is out of that stress or stressful situation, and when you meet that person again, if you do not even get a thanks, be all right about it. That's why I say detached. All right, I hope this answers it.
Ask them in the morning, in the afternoon, how they are doing. Okay, it's always not the question of what can I do to help, right? I mean, that's a very tough question to answer. So don't ask that question. Sheryl Sandberg, in one of those convocation speeches, talked about leaning in and leaning on. And there she mentioned that this question of how can I help is a tough question to answer. But, just getting a random burger would go a long way. So maybe just send them some food that they like, surprise them with a cake that they like, talk to them often over phone, meet them if you can, only if you can enforce the social distances. Just be there, okay? Understand that life is just more than our small problems, because there are, again, millions of people who have bigger problems. And lastly, listen more than you speak. That always helps manage somebody who's already stressed. So that would be my biggest advice, is listen. Have an open mind. Listen. Understand their problems. So the first thing is, they may not even want you to solve their problems. They just want an let out. So just listen. Okay? Just listen, and that goes a long way.
Yeah, we do have to get out there and seek opportunities and ways for us to help others, as well as know the extent of our help and be open and honest about it. Next is a middle schooler concern.
What should I do if I feel like my friends are pressuring me to do something that puts me at a higher risk of getting COVID and is out of my comfort zone?
At your age, peer pressure is there, whether it be direct, a friend telling you to behave in one way, or indirect, feeling like you should do something because your friends are doing it. As the state begins to open up, different people have different levels of comfort re-engaging. Just because restaurants are open, that doesn't mean you have to go to one. Try not to judge your friends and ask the same from them. If you're asked to attend a party, it is okay to let them know you appreciate the invitation, but you're not comfortable attending due to social distancing, and you hope you can attend the next one once you're feeling safer or once COVID-19 allows. When it comes to COVID-19 and your health, follow the guidelines and only do what you and your parent or guardian feels comfortable doing. When it comes to any peer pressure, make smart choices and feel confident in your smart decisions.
Be firm and say no. That is a straightforward answer. Do not engage in any activity that is out of your comfort zone in general. So you know the rules, you know the measures that has to be taken to keep yourself and your family safe. Follow them diligently and stay healthy.
When hanging out with friends, if you feel any pressure regarding the COVID situation, I think it's best to be honest with them because everyone's situation is really different, especially at home. Some people live with grandparents. Some people just have parents that have sensitivities. So it's best to tell your friends and establish rules before you're meeting up and say, hey, are we going to be wearing masks? What are we doing? Are we going to be outside? And if you happen to go out somewhere with your friends and then you feel uncomfortable, you should speak up, because most of the times you'd be surprised and your friends will understand your situation and what's going on if you feel uncomfortable. And you can always put on a mask, and if all of that feels uncomfortable, it's best to excuse yourself and just leave the gathering, and you can always meet up at a later date when things have gotten better.
This is a very, very key question. Learning to say no is a very, very key life skill. I think as kids we were saying no all the time. Yeah, mom, no. Anything you ask them, kids say no. But somewhere along as you grew up, society conditioned us to believe that saying yes was preferable. It's the path of least resistance, and saying no was not acceptable. But let me assure you, in a corporate world, at least, as a professional, as an adult, it's very, very important for you to learn to say no politely and firmly. Yeah, it's a key skill. So I'm glad that this COVID pandemic is providing you with opportunities to work on the skill. Yeah. So let's see. I'll give you 3 things to keep in mind when you say no. Yeah, one is, always thank the offer. Suppose, I'm assuming somebody's calling you for like let's say a gathering or something, right? Thank them for the offer. Let them know that you are, you appreciate them thinking about you and, inviting you. So that's important. When you say no, appreciate the gesture, thank them. And when you say no, don't invent a reason. Yeah? Don't tell them you're affected with COVID and hence won't come. Yeah? Tell them that, just state the facts factually. Tell them that you think you will be at more risk if you, do this, and hence you don't want to come. Yeah? State that factually without, having to invent a reason. And thirdly, I think you should offer an alternative. Suppose they're calling you for homework, offer to, do it virtually, a teleconference or whatever that is, right? Or offer to do it at a later time. Just come up with an alternative. I think, if you follow these three basic steps, chances are you will be firm in saying no, and you will definitely be respected for who you are sooner or later. Definitely do not put yourself at risk when you're not comfortable to doing something. Stand your ground, say no. Eventually, people will turn around. And I appreciate the fact that this pandemic is giving you this opportunity to learn this very, very, very key life skill that adults also struggle with all the time, in their later years.
There is no right or wrong way to say no. It's just a simple no. If you think that you're not comfortable in doing what you have been asked to do not feel pressured and do not do it. Listen to your gut. I am sure you are old enough to understand the difference between the right and the wrong. And getting out of our comfort zone, especially when we feel that it is not right, you don't have to do it. And you do not have to get out of any of your comfort zones or do anything to please others, including your friends, if you're not comfortable with it. I would suggest that it is hard to say no to your friends, but if they really, really, truly are your friends and they know that you're not comfortable to do something that you've been asked to do, they will understand you. Be assertive, say no. It's going to burn some bridges initially, maybe with your friends, a day or two, a week maximum, but friends come around too if they love you. So yeah, don't do it.
Learning to say no, of course, is a life skill, and being open and honest about it will help develop that skill. It's imperative that we learn and practice it so that we don't put ourselves or others at risk. Next is a pressing concern from our undergraduate students.
With even experienced professionals losing their jobs and a decline in job opportunities for recent graduates creating undue stress, how can we deal with the stress?
So here's my take on that. This is an opportunity. COVID per se is an opportunity for you to reinvent yourself and look at things outside the box. Instead of becoming job seekers, this is an opportunity for each one of you at becoming job creators. There's so many opportunities out there, and the best part about your generation is that you are born into the technology era, unlike us who've been born, migrating into the technology era. So with the technology at hand, you can make this world a very, very small place to live in, meaning you can bring all the people together and create wonderful learning opportunities and wonderful opportunities just using the power of social media and technology. So instead of sitting back and looking at all the problems that COVID has created, look at all the possibilities that it has, opened up. Imagine connecting with someone who's sitting all the way from India and talking to you, and I'm loving just learning from you guys. So it's just looking at things with a completely new perspective, which will change the way the whole pandemic is turning out for you.
Well, this stress is real, but the good thing is it's not going to be permanent. It's going to pass off, if not within a few months, maybe at the end of the year, or maybe in the beginning of the next year, it's going to fade away. So believe in yourself, have self-belief that you can do it. And in the meantime, don't stay idle. We have to develop our skills, develop new skills, and also plan for self-employment, because financial stress is one of the main reasons for all other problems cropping up. So we have to find out methods for self-employment, develop new skills, and then stay afloat till the time becomes better for us. I don't think there is any shortcut and magic solutions to this problem.
It's a fabulous opportunity here for you. The reason I'm saying that is because the world, the universities, institution, industry, everyone they've just opened up their doors, and there's so much of learning out there. So instead of just sitting like everyone else does and wondering when is this pandemic going to get over, how about you connect with cross-cultural learning opportunities and create, start building up your CV, saying that instead of just sitting there during a pandemic, you have reached out and learned from so many institutions, and you've got an opportunity to get mentored by the industry leaders. So feel free to reach out if you want to learn from the leaders out here in India. More than happy to help you. But the point here, what I'm trying to make, is that when you reach out, there are a lot of mentors who are willing to support you. There are a lot of global learning opportunities available for children, which can, when I say children, I mean, I probably should call you all young adults who can go on, get these opportunities, because this is what will actually set you apart when it comes to your career. Because any employer or even your college admissions, they will definitely look at what is it that you've done apart from just academics. Have you got any cross-cultural learning experience? Have you been mentored? Have you taken up any leadership roles? What is it that you bring on the table is what institutions are looking at. And this is a fantastic opportunity for you to just reach out. Just to share my story, when I was there at University of Colorado learning as an MBA student, the one thing that I did was just go around the place and look for volunteering opportunities. Just those volunteering opportunities has helped me start my own business venture today. I help create global learning opportunities for undergraduate students, postgraduate students, where they can go and get real life learning experience. And the best part is you also get certified for this, which gives you an edge over others. Not only that, today I help advise universities as their strategic consultant to create these cross-cultural learning experience. So what I'm trying to share with you is that the whole world is just a click away. It's only about how you look at it and create and grab these opportunities, so that as a young leader, you can go on and create a world of a difference.
Well, this is a very good question. I do know people have lost jobs. I do know a lot of professionals are sitting home, and it's not the best state of mind. It's not the best time. It's not the best thing to happen to anyone. But think about it. Where some have lost jobs, a lot of other people have gained jobs. It's just that they have gained jobs in sectors which we have overlooked in the past. Janitors, people working in the grocery stores, people working in the hospitals. A lot of jobs opened up in those areas. They may not be very white-collar jobs or corporate jobs that we aim for, but there are jobs. So a lot of jobs did also open up because of this pandemic. what you can do is not worry, because this time is not here to stay. We all are in this together, and this shall pass. You need to really focus on what you have today, and that is time. You have a lot of time in your hand. I would suggest that use this time to brush up the skills and the knowledge that you aim to apply for. Work on some interview skills so that tomorrow when you actually land up on an interview, you know what to do. You have all the skill set for being a good candidate. That's going to keep you or make you a class apart from other candidates. So use this time to work on your weaknesses and enhance all your strengths. And wait for the right time. There will be jobs. There are jobs in the market. It's just probably not what you're looking for right now, but it will come. All the best.
Yes, it is true, right? There are job losses. There is going to be job losses. I think at some level it's kind of an expected outcome, right? With your economy plummeting, I'm not surprised. And there's no easy way out of this, right? Like all things in life, economy is cyclical too. So eventually we will bounce back. So there is hope at the end of the tunnel. Things are going to be okay at some point in the future. And I think we all recognize that. But until then, what can you do in the interim? Yeah. First of all, let me tell you this. So if there is a dream firm that you wanted to get into and you see that that firm X is laying off people, it's not necessarily bad news for you. Yeah. Most likely the firm is laying off its more expensive resources to make space for some of the newer, cheaper ones. And you as an undergrad probably is the new, cheaper resource that they are looking for. So, what you should do is just skill up, get in line, and most likely you will get in the door, right? So it's, layoffs is not necessarily bad news for you. Yeah. So that's one. Secondly, again, I'm not going to sugarcoat here. There are going to be lesser number of open jobs, right? Due to the pandemic. That's true. However, there are going to be newer avenues or newer opportunities that's opened due to pandemic. That's also true. Yeah. So what can you do is, of course, one is to upskill, cross-skill in order to get yourself corporate ready to get in the door as the new opportunities open up, right? Whether that means upskilling your digital skill set, or depending on which stream you're in, you need to pick up new skill sets in order to be ready for the new digital tele era coming up, right? That's definitely one. Secondly, step back, keep your eyes and ears open, and look for opportunities. When I say opportunity, I don't mean business opportunities, but opportunities that are out there in order for you to create value, right? It could, let me give you an example. I live in an apartment living, right? There are about 300, 400, resident families that live in this apartment living. And there's one kid, probably about 19 years old. What he did was every morning, he, with the flowers that fall off the trees, he picked them up and put up a nice message on the floor in the lawn. Okay? And people who go around for walking at 5 or 6 in the morning get to feel positive about it, right? We didn't know who did that for a long time. But now, he's done that for, good 5 months now. He's become very, very popular. So, what he's what he has achieved in the last 5 months is won a lot of hearts, right? So, and people who didn't know this kid existed now knows that this such a kid who's currently in college exists. So how this will help him is, when he finishes college, whenever the pandemic ends, if there is going to be an opportunity, there are enough people in the, in the neighborhood that knows that there is, one kid here who may be up for it, right? And we already know of his, good attitude and, things like that. So it'll come handy, right? So basically what you're not looking at a business opportunity, but you're looking at creating value, making other people smile, and in that process, putting yourself out there, right? So that's something that you could work on. Secondly, so I'll give you another example. There's another lady here, probably mid-50s, right? She created a WhatsApp group, right? Not the most novel idea, but it really brought us together in this time of pandemic, right? So it really opened the doors for a number of small-time farmers, small-time shopkeepers to sell their wares. And, when we are not stepping out, it created a platform to, seek out and get things at the door. Yeah, it was really helpful. So, we changed from being a community who didn't know who their neighbors were to a community where, when one of our fellow resident families fell sick due to COVID, they had 3 meals a day delivered to their home for 2 weeks until they recovered by one of us, by one of the other fellow residents. Took turns, planned out, and so this is created a lot of value. It may not really something that was quickly monetizable. It's not a business opportunity, but it's something that created value. I think if you invest in things that you're passionate about, that you really care about, whether it is your it could be a long lost hobby, it could be your relationships, it could be your health, or it could be some such crazy or innovative idea. I think the returns you get in, investing your time in any of these is probably much greater than, landing that dream job 6 months or a year earlier than what seems possible now, due to the pandemic. So I think the currency that we all have in common right now is time. As long as, the pandemic lasts, and as long as we stay safe, we're going to have this time with us. Let's just look at opportunities to use the time to create something of value. And I think that is also the most effective way to actually deal with stress, is to step back, slow down, to want less, and be available for somebody who probably needs you. The sum value of what you create in this time is going to be so much more meaningful for you and for others. And if you get that job a year later, it's going to make very little difference in your career, honestly.
I understand that this is a tough time to find a job, but I guarantee that we will turn around, right? We've been in a similar situation. If I don't know what is worse, in 2008, it took a couple of years, but things turned around. Okay, so this will turn around. It's also another phase, and most importantly, not every industry appears to be losing jobs, because some of my students are still getting jobs and multiple job offers at the same time. So my suggestion is keep trying. Okay, don't give up. Things will always change. Keep the faith. Again, find an opportunity. Treat this as an opportunity to learn something new. Okay, if you have done something and then you want to learn this new technology, this new field, follow the passion that you have not got a chance during your undergraduate, try and follow that. Okay, so learn something. Use this phase of job search to make your resume better, to make your skill set better, improve your skill set, add something to it, right? So whenever a door is closed, remember there is always another door open. Keep that in mind. Okay, once you figure that out, then you will realize that you can actually do something else. You don't have to just immediately find a job. Okay, and you can do online courses. You can prepare yourself better. So figure out that once there is an opportunity coming, you better put yourself in the best possible manner to be hired. So again, find a 2.0 version of yourself during this break. And that can happen. You guys are all very smart. And the fact that you have these very smart questions means that you're thinking about how to make yourself better. So all you need to do is just say, hey, I'm going to do it, and just do it.
Yes, these responses are reassuring. Some of these stories of students who resort to creative outlets during these times to spread positivity definitely iterate that we can add value wherever we are. We as students should use this time to upskill and add value, and I'm sure we will get noticed. Moving on to another high schooler question.
What are some good ways to relieve stress before you go to bed?
Before you go to bed, make sure that there is a minimum of 2 hours gap before you watch the TV and your bedtime. Not only your TV, even your phone, your iPad or laptop or any device which emits blue light. So that's one thing. Another thing is, of course, the meals. You have to see to it that your last meal of the day is at least a couple of hours, 3 hours to be minimum actually, 3 hours before you go to bed. Recently I have started eating my dinner at approximately 6:30, and I do not eat after that. And naturally I started losing weight. Although I've been eating almost everything, there's no diet I'm following. So that's one thing. Before bed, meditation is a great way. Yeah, there are a lot of YouTube music channels which give out like calming music. Most of the calming music is nature sounds, bird sounds, like water or even rain sounds, rain shower sounds, stuff like that. So you can use these to calm your mind. The thought process, see, the calmness, the silence within is what is important. To have the silence within you, it is extremely, extremely important that your mind is extremely calm. To keep your mind extremely calm, it is your thought which is important. You need to command your thoughts. Your thoughts cannot be allowed to command you.
I'm going to break down this question. One, how do you relieve stress? And two, what do you do before bedtime to manage stress better? Okay. Let me answer the first one. How do you relieve stress? Before I get there, let me give you a little bit of a background. As a child, I didn't manage it very well. Right? Even as a teenager, I used to get mouth sores when I was stressed. And I would break down, literally cry if I was stressed. I remember a time before, I think, my graduate school entrance exam, I cried for a good 20 minutes and I felt better. So I'm not a medico, so I'm not going to go into the the chemistry behind it. But the point is, stress is normal, very, very normal, and it's not bad. And a little bit of stress is something that's required in order to bring the best out of us. So let's take the the bad press behind stress away first, okay? And but as you grow older, I think we learn to react better to stress. So what worked for me, as I grew older, is yoga, exercise still works like a charm. Two, again, this is something a lot of people vouch for, restful sleep and good diet. Yeah. But I think personally, it's just the first point that's sufficient, that makes a marked difference. Good physical exercise and yoga really makes me a better person. So I don't know if it works for you, you can try. Secondly, on the second question about what do you do before bedtime, again, something that works for me is having a set routine, having the same routine every day. Okay? For some, it could be writing a journal. For some, it could be talking to your family. For some, it could be reading a book, a very, very boring one. Definitely puts you to sleep, right? Another thing that really works for me, apart from having a good set routine, is no screen time for at least 30 minutes before bedtime. In addition to, some people suggest, drinking a glass of milk or, some such thing before bedtime. I'm not sure if that works. You could try. But broadly, I think I would drive home the point that, stress is not necessarily bad. A little bit is fine. If it really bothers with your life, like you're not able to fall asleep, you're not going to remain asleep, then you probably should, try all these steps or, seek medical advice if you're still feeling stressful.
Okay, so first and foremost thing is, if I say, oh, cell phone is bad, Gen Z should cut out on cell phone, that's not going to happen. But it takes a certain amount of discipline to in life. What I would suggest is 30 minutes before bedtime, stop with all the cell phone activities. Don't read news. Don't go to social media. Nothing. Okay, you can either pick up a book that is like a very nice topic. Again, no gory books, like pleasant books. Listen to the music, or if you want to spend time with your siblings or something like that, do something soothing that will calm you down, and also have like a gentle chamomile tea or milk before you go to bed. And of course, please make it a habit not to have your cell phones in your room. And yes, you have traditional clocks and alarms to look at the time. So I constantly hear this, oh, without my cell phone, how am I going to check the time, right? So yes, these are one of the few strategies.
So some of the ways that I like to unwind before bed are taking some time out for myself. I will do things like meditating, or a nice hot shower, or just dimming the lights and lighting a candle and maybe trying to read a book. Or sometimes when the weather's nice in the summers, go for like a nice brisk walk outside. I find that even stretching before bed sometimes helps, and these are all things that I can do that help me unwind or relax and calm my mind right before I have to go to bed.
Lots of calming techniques, and some of them seem to be favorites among our panelists, such as shutting off electronics way before bedtime, meditation, and etc. I personally can't wait to put some of these to use, and I hope you all would as well. Our next question is something that a lot of teenagers struggle with in general.
How can we find the motivation to do something when we feel like we can't?
Whenever we want to do something, the auto response our mind generates is, I cannot do it. That's very common. But instead of pondering in that, I cannot, just go a little further. When you finish accomplishing it, what would be a sense of joy? What would you gain? And experience that joy. And that will be a kickstart for you to not think about I cannot and start enjoying it. And when you are there, just start doing it. You will automatically start accomplishing things. On a different note, there are many people who you perceive as successful. And all those people, they just thought about and they just did it. You can do this too.
A sense of accomplishment, right? If you do anything with a sense of accomplishment, anything that you do for yourself, I would say like, you'll get the motivation from within yourself. You don't need anyone else from externally to come and help you doing that, etc. So a lot of people used to ask me, then how do you keep yourself busy? Even if we call you on Sundays, we call you on every day. You have your own task. You have, you're part of some or other activities, etc. Because, for me, like, as I said, like my entire life is there is a defined goal, and any organization that I work for, or any kind of courses that I do, everything is part of my larger project, right? And so for me, like every day I get up, oh God, I lost one more day. Like I need to do something to really like, to achieve my goal. And honestly, I'm saying that really keeps me highly motivated. So the shortcut from, if I have to really like, put together all my thought processes, please have a larger vision for yourself, larger vision for your life, and keep it pretty, I would say, strong and challenging one. Make it a little more, kind of tougher for you to kind of achieve. And I'm sure, work hard towards it. And I'm telling you, you will be the most accomplished person in your life.
I'm going to tell you a personal story. This happened when I was probably 14 years old. I was just a very happy-go-lucky child. I would probably spend all my non-school hours munching around the neighborhood, lazing around the house, and giggling, playing with my friends. Typical teen behavior, I guess. I didn't really have any real ambition. I was just happy being who I was as a child. And suddenly one day something changed. I happened to overhear a conversation that my grandmom was having with one of her friends. She was mentioning me. She said her granddaughter Preeti was so smart, a bright student, very hardworking child, and she was looking forward to the day that I would make big in life, become a doctor and some such thing. And I was like, where did that come from? I didn't think I was smart at all, and I definitely was not hardworking. First of all, I didn't even have any real aspirations. I was not of the opinion that I could do anything better than what I was already doing, right? But that conversation really changed who I was overnight. It seemed like somebody came into my brain, turned some switch on, and that said, it's possible, you can do it, right? And in hindsight, I think that's the day that I probably started, running the rat race, right? So the point that I'm trying to make is, it's all in your head. The power of believing is very, very true, very, very real, right? The moment you find that factor which turns that thing in your head, which makes you believe that it is possible, you can do it, you can actually do it. There is no denying, there is no underplaying the power of mind in everything that you do. So I want to stress home the point that if you put your mind to it, everything that is within your control is quite possible and achievable. I'm not at all, don't get me wrong, I'm not at all suggesting that you run any rat race or anything. It could be, it's nothing to do with academics. It could be anything, right? If you put your mind to it, whatever be it, if it's in your control, you can do it. The power of mind is enormous, and it's very, very true, very, very real. I hope that you believe that the statement is true and it works in your favor.
This is one of the leading challenges, not only for high schoolers or college students and young adults, but also for middle-aged men, even men in their 40s and 50s, and even afterwards. It's one of the greatest challenges of life, self-motivation. How to motivate yourself. In a couple of other answers that I have given you, I have mentioned about a very highly disciplined life, which is essential. It is a must to motivate yourself. Apart from that, what you can do to motivate yourself, I will give you the story of Arjun from Mahabharata. In the story of Arjun from Mahabharata, Arjun had to go and pierce the eye of a fish. Now that would sound pretty easy, but how did he have to do that? He had to look down at the image of a fish which was on top of a pole. The fish was attached to a small circular ring, and the ring was constantly rotating. While the ring was rotating, there was a huge bowl of water beneath on the bottom. Arjun had to look down at the reflection of the fish in the bowl of water. Then he had to look at the eye and pierce the eye with the arrow. Mind you, he is looking down, whereas his bow and arrow are upwards. How easy do you think this is? And Arjun in the story was able to do it. That's why he was the greatest archer in ancient India. Now, if you go into the depths of this particular challenge that Arjun faced, you will see that initially, what did he have to do? He would have required a lot of patience, because first of all, when he looked down in the water, he had to wait for the water to settle down completely. Because if the water was moving, then the image of the fish would be distorted. Once that is done, he had to look at the fish constantly moving and concentrate till it reaches a point where the fish is almost stationary in his mind. How can the fish be stationary when the fish is moving? The fish can't. But it becomes stationary in his mind because his eyes are following the fish at the same speed. It is like two trains moving in the same direction at the same speed. If I am sitting in the window and looking at somebody sitting in a window in that another train, with both the trains moving at the same speed, what will happen? You will think that both these trains are stationary. But it's not so. And for that you have to look out the other window. And then you see all the trees are moving past him. Then, once he reaches that point, he has to concentrate deeper and go and look at the eye. And then all the way inside the eye. So it requires a lot of concentration. The reason behind me explaining you this story is motivation is something like this. If you are keen on motivating yourself, first of all, you need to know what you want to motivate yourself for. What is the goal you want to achieve? Once you start focusing on that goal, our brain is such a magical, such a unique and such a beautiful blessing that we have, that it will start giving you ideas. It will give you ideas about how to achieve what you want to achieve. Just keep following that, which is known as your gut feeling, and you will be able to achieve that. Since my days as a professor in college and even when I was teaching back in India, I always told every student reading is very important. As much as reading is important, it is also extremely important that the book that you select has to be something that will self-motivate you. So, reading, selecting the right book, paying attention to it. Also, what happens while reading is you read without reflecting or without understanding. You may go through a couple of paragraphs, a couple of pages, or 10 pages, 50 pages a day. And at the end of the day, if I ask you, okay, how much did you read? 50 pages. Tell me about it. You can't tell me even matter enough which will fill half a page. Did you really read well? Did you pay attention? So that is very important. Self-motivation can be a key if you are keen on it. And only then can you self-motivate yourself. But it's easy once you have decided and you learn to stick to it.
I think that's a very important question. But the problem with motivation is I always feel the following. Most of us, the problem is inside, but we search for solution outside. Most of the problem is inside us. Okay, but we always search for problems outside. Solutions outside. We think that the world is not fair to us. But remember, every time you're losing motivation, think that there are at least a few million people who would give an arm and leg to be where you are or to be where I am. Okay, in Tamil, there is a beautiful song written by 𝗧𝗘𝗡 in which it says, "Namakkum 𝗧𝗘𝗡 𝗧𝗍𝗆 𝗀𝗀," which basically means there are at least tens of millions of people who are much below us in terms of their privilege. Okay, so we really have to understand that we have a lot of privilege. The fact that we can sit and watch TV, it's itself a privilege. Okay, the fact that we have Wi-Fi at home, and I'm talking to many high school students here who, for instance, cannot even have their meal because the school is closed. Don't have meal at their home because their parents are out of job and the checks have stopped coming. So in those cases, compared to them, you are at a much better place. So what you do is try and see how you can help them out. Think of the world, don't think of yourself. You'll get the motivation. If you just only keep your focus on yourself, you're not going to get the motivation. Think outward. Think about how you can contribute to the society. How can you make the world a better place to live in? Okay? Accept first that there are things that you can change. Okay, and there are things that you cannot change. If there is something that you cannot change, do not strive and fight for that. But if there are some things that you can change, go ahead and change. You know what you can change the most? It's yourself. Find ways to make yourself better. There is always a 2.0 version of you that is inside you. How can you find that person? How can you make yourself better? Look for motivations outside. When you read a book, read a newspaper article, get inspired and do something that makes a change.
Yeah, it definitely helps to introspect and look internally for ways to motivate yourself. Sometimes the trust that people around us have on us could be a way of motivation as well. Moving on to our last question of today's event.
Many students currently have a messed up sleep cycle, possibly due to stress or other responsibilities. How do you suggest one can break out of this and maintain a good health regime?
The most important thing in maintaining a proper, healthy sleep, hygienic sleep, is to have a proper timing. Whether you go out for work and return or you stay within the house, you have to maintain the sleep timings. It's important to avoid a long nap in the afternoon. Go to bed at the right time. Irrespective of you have work or not, you have to curtail it so that you go to bed at the right time and rise up at the right time and have a regular exercise program. It helps a lot to spend some time in a music that you enjoy, or if you have a cycle of, if you believe in meditation, whatever may be your method of meditation, some sort of concentration and relaxation. Have a warm bath and try to finish your dinner about 3 hours before going to bed. So these things help you to maintain a proper sleep cycle.
That's right. So what has happened right now is with the school closure, being permanently in jet lag mode has become the norm. What I would suggest is some amount of discipline. Yes, being a teenager, being a high schooler, you would like to stay up all night, all days of the week. But I would say confine it to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Okay? And then Monday, have a semblance of normalcy, like go to bed around 11 or 12. Because that's what, even for your mental well-being and your physical well-being, sleeping on time at those regular times is absolutely important. And now that school is closely approaching, I suggest that you limit the late nights to Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
What about the messed up sleep cycle? There are a few, and I think there is another question about what are some ways that I relieve stress before I go to bed. So I'm going to answer both of them together. First, you cut the video time before you go to sleep. Do not watch the phone all the way till you go to sleep. Following a routine is important. Even at bedtime, following a routine is important. Pick up a hobby, and I always suggest reading. Okay, read before you sleep. That calms you down quite a bit. The more you read, watch something. Some people like to watch comedy videos. Some people like to watch their favorite sports, highlights of favorite sports. Watch something, but before you go to the bed, calm down your mind. Meditate. do yoga. These really help. These really do help. Drink some calming tea. That's what I do. When I had some insomnia problems due to extreme work pressure when I started as an assistant professor, my wife, as soon as we got married, the first thing she did was bring in a sleep schedule by which I would be done with work at least half an hour before I hit the bed. And before I hit the bed, we had a routine where I had to read a book, and then I drink some chamomile tea, do some breathing exercises, and then go to bed. So that kind of helped me and started putting me in a better sleep cycle. So I think that always helps. So I do that, and I suggest you try that.
So there is a sleep cycle issue because you work round the clock. You have to, because there's no like 9 to 5 kind of activities. Sometimes you stay late. You have to complete some of your projects and assignments, etc. So how do you really manage this sleep life cycle? Very simple thing is like form a group of people. Share your some of your health apps that are around. Have a goal for yourself. How many number of hours that you all sleep. How many steps that you kind of walk in a day. And it could be like a basic thing. Just start working it with each other. Then you will see that, okay, compared to some of my friends, my family members, or it could be like colleagues, that you'll say, okay, I done like thousands of steps in a day, and then like I slept for 7 hours, etc. That will really like put yourself comparatively like what is your routine versus the people around you. Then it will bring some kind of competitive way of doing it, but that will really bring some kind of routine among yourself. So pick and choose friends of similar thought process who can really work together in keeping some of your habits and best practices in life. That's the better way of working out on some of these issues.
Everything boils down to discipline, doesn't it? And it definitely seems to me that even though it may be one of the hardest things to adopt, once adopted, it could make everything else simpler and manageable. Well, that wraps up our questions for today. Let's hear from some students as to how last week's session had helped them.
Hi, my name is Ashna.
And my name is Gurbaran. We are both middle school students who have watched the event last week.
Last week, I asked a question regarding feeling sick but not facing any symptoms of sickness. After watching the video, I've been spending more time outside with my friends and family. It interested me that spending more time outside and getting more physical activity has actually made me more energized.
I also spent a lot of time outdoors with my dog Kenny. This helped me build a daily routine. Overall, I felt more organized and energized as well. The recommendations from the video helped us, and I hope it helps a lot of other students out there as well.
I'm in 3rd grade. And I'm in 2nd grade. I really enjoyed the show. Me too, and I learned a lot.
Isn't that wonderful to know? We're hearing from more and more students as we speak, and we hope to be of help to as many students as possible. Now let's hear from our community leaders as to what they feel about this initiative.
Hello, my name is 𝗧𝗘𝗘𝗡. I am the Councilman of Edison Township. I would like to congratulate GSA, that is a Global Stand Against COVID Project Chair Anjana 𝗓𝗓𝗡 and her leadership team for their outstanding effort to help the students during this pandemic time. This great initiative has helped many students across the globe to come out stress and anxiety. Let's together help the team promote the cause and be safe.
Thank you so much. It definitely helps us a lot to know that we have so much support from our leaders and mentors. Yet again, the recommendations and insights provided by all these panelists here today have tremendously helped the GSA COVID team towards managing stress. As always, we hope it has also helped the students and their families watching too. Please do keep following us on all of our social media, so Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, all at GSA COVID, and check out our website, www.gsacovid.org, for more information about our activities and more ways you can help and seek help. Remember, no help is too small, and there is always something you can help with. You'll never know unless you reach out. Please continue to let us know your personal experiences around applying some of these tactics to your everyday life by commenting on our social media, sending us videos, or even emailing us at info@gsacovid.org. Remember, the most creative ones will be featured in our next week's live show, which will be focusing on one of the most awaited topics, academic future. We also did talk about a virtual fundraising campaign last week to raise funds and donate to the LCIF, the Lions Club International Foundation, which will then disperse the money across the globe towards COVID relief. We have raised over $6,000 so far, and our ultimate target is $20,000. Please hit the donate button on our website today to donate towards families across the globe and help them face and fight COVID-19. Together, let's take a global stand against COVID. Are you a student going through a lot of anxiety?
Maybe stress or uncertainty due to COVID? Well, just know you're not alone.
We know what it's like to be going through all of these things, and we are here to help.
So come join us on all August Sundays, starting August 16th, where professional panelists will be sharing
their personal insights and their own stories of COVID-19
to help create more awareness around mental health challenges during this pandemic.
Let's take a global stand against COVID.
Teen Talks every Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific times, only on TVASIA Telugu.
Hanumavega Courier Services. India to around the world, USA to